The Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, I'll be the last one getting up tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Jennifer Eden.
Here.
Al Poole.
Here.
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
David Walker.
Here.
Soren Peterson.
Here.
Chuck Schultz.
Here.
And Marcy Husted here.
Do we have any additions to the agenda?
I have nothing.
Call for motion.
So moved. Support.
Been motion and supported to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Next is approval of consent agenda. Regular board meeting minutes from October 3rd, 2017, treasurer's report, and the clerk's warrants and bills.
So moved.
Been motion and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Next, communications. Items 1 through 7. Item number 1, Livingston County Sheriff's Report from September 2017. Item number 2, Planning Commission approved meeting minutes, September 12th, 2017. Item number 3, Planning Commission meeting synopsis, October 10th, 2017. Item number 4, quote for cashier's replacement computer. Item number 5, Livingston County Wastewater Treatment Advisory Board minutes, September 19th, 2017. Item number 6, Fire Run Report dated November 1st, 2017. And item number 7, the Cromaine Library Annual Report for 2016-2017.
So moved. Support.
It's been motion and support to receive communications and place them on file. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Public remarks. Anybody like to make any public comment about the township business or anything on the agenda? All right, being that we have none, we have no unfinished business, we'll move to new business. Item number 1 is a presentation from the FACT Board for the renewal of the PEG coordinator position. We have Ray Colbert from the FACT Committee and the City of Linden here to talk to us for a few minutes. So thank you, Ray, for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to speak, and thank you, Marna, for all the work. I think Marna put most of the presentation together, so I was elected to speak for them. I am Ray Colbert. I'm a city councilor in the City of Linden, chairman of the FACT Board, and we have decided as a board that we wanted to come out to all of the communities and the schools and give an overview of what we've accomplished in the last year. So I've got 6 slides, and I promised Soren 5 minutes. So we'll do that, Soren.
Okay.
What we want to talk about is the promises that we've made and the promises that we've kept over the last year. We want to share some financials that talk about funding our PEG coordinator for another 3 years. We want to talk a little bit about viewership and access to our channel. We want to talk about municipal use of funds for equipment and tech support. We've also got some information on what some of our students in our video production classes have done as far as college and jobs that they've been able to get because of the program, the FACT program and the PEG funding that all the communities support us with. And we're going to ask you for funding for Randon Sayute for another 3 years. If he walks in, he was in Grand Rapids today. He's going to try to get here, but he had some training he had to accomplish. Okay, next slide. We started with the FACT Board about 4 years ago and basically reformatted how we operated. And the first thing we did, we added all of the school district superintendents to the FACT Board. They're non-voting members because you can't vote on monies that we approve, fundings that we approve. But by them being on the fact board, we've been able to really progress in terms of the programs we've offered in school systems as well as our communities. We also updated our policies and bylaws, and we identified for the first time with facts some short-term goals that we wanted to achieve and some long-term goals. A lot of those goals came from talking to all of the communities that support the FACT consortium. Okay, next slide. In our short-term goals, and this is a challenge we picked up from Mike Cunningham, the first time we met with Mike and the board, and he said, how do you guys keep track of your equipment that we're purchasing for the schools? Well, to be honest with you, we weren't keeping track of it. As we dug into it, neither were the schools. Marna led the charge as a member of our FACT committee to set up an equipment inventory, replacement, repair, and disposal plan. And we now inventory every piece of equipment. The schools inventory every piece of equipment. The FACT board gets reports on what all of that equipment is. And we also have adopted policies on replacement and repair of some of the equipment, and most importantly, disposal. So when we scrap that equipment, we know that it's been scrapped out of the schools. We even came up with a process, and again, Marna, thanks for your help. We're even reselling some of the old equipment that's obsolete for the school. That goes into our fund, and then the next grant that we approve, the money comes right out of the fund that's maintained and saves all the community's money. We've got a grant application timeline and process that the schools have to come in and give us a grant at a request at a certain time frame, and we follow up and make sure that timing is in place. We get a PEC coordinator quarterly update from Randon because he's working with the schools and communities. We've created a job description pay rate and have hired Randon now and have had him in place for about 2 years. We also do an annual performance evaluation for him, so we're able to determine what he's been able to accomplish and is he meeting the requirements that we want our PEC coordinator to meet. Some of our long-term goals, and I think this came in our discussion too, Mike, in our meeting in Tyrone Township. The question was, when I turn on channel 191, I don't know what I'm getting. I'm either watching the same football game 7 or 8 times, or I'm watching the Fenton Township meetings on TV, but I can never go in and draw the program. Like if I'm a parent and my kid is in the school choir, I'm never able to go in like on demand and pick that up. We now have that capability. We're on www.faxtv.com, and we're passing all of the programs that are on channel 191 all through the internet system, even into YouTube. And so we're getting a lot more viewership than we've ever had before. We're tracking that. But the question is, you know, why can't I ever go in and find the program I want to see? We're now able to do that. So that was one of our long-term goals. We've centralized our support for the municipalities and schools. One of our targets was to do more for the communities. I know Randon has been out here and worked with you folks. He's also been in all the other communities. And we've also rolled Heartland schools in the process. Again, thank you, Marna. Marna brought that up and challenged us because Heartland has, you know, like cable services, and they're now fully participating in the FACT consortium. Okay, next slide. We do have an inventory replacement, repair and disposal plan. As I mentioned, the municipalities are starting to use some of the FACT funds. And I know you've used some funding dollars, but I encourage you to look at where you might be able to use some of the equipment expenditures for updating your computers, video production and that type of thing. All you got to do is make sure that you're linking into Channel 191, and those funds are not just school funds. When we started the board, basically all the funds were going to the schools. We've used some funds in Linden. Fenton Township is using funds. The city of Fenton is planning on using some of the FACT funds this year for their own municipality. So I'd encourage you folks to look at, where that money can be fed back into your community, into your hall here. And we've done that in Linden, and we're continuing to look at that. So you ought to do the same thing. The funding is just not school funding. PEG is public education, government. So we're all government, and we have access to those funds too. We've been doing a lot of general maintenance and troubleshooting. Rand's job now is to work with the video production teachers, but he's a problem solver, and he's also helped the communities too. So, and each one of the municipalities have a new 10-year agreement with Charter to continue collecting PEG fees. I know your community does too. And so at least we're funded for the next 10 years. Okay? Next slide. This one is a little hard to see. If you can see it, and I'm not the only one that's blind, but we do track all of our video transmissions that are going on Channel 191 are now blasting through the internet. We're rolling that out, and this is a tracking of YouTube viewership. And we're tracking not only the number of viewers that are looking at these video productions, but we're also tracking the time that it's being broadcast out. And this happens to track YouTube, and there were 27,910 minutes of programming that were put out through Channel 191 and passed into YouTube. 5,424 people had looked at our programs. When it was only Charter, we were never able to track that. For some reason, Charter doesn't track viewership. I find that hard to believe, but they don't have, they say, a process in place that they can track the amount of viewers. Now, I have to believe that if we're Dancing with the Stars, they know how many people were on that channel. But they tell us that they can't track viewership. Now we're starting to track viewership to see which programs are really outreaching into our communities that we really need to work on. So this is the first two that we've been able to do. Okay, next slide. Student success. We are starting a process where we're tracking, there are 500 and some students in the 4 schools that are taking video production classes today and using our PEG funding to fund that equipment. Over 500 students. We now are starting to track how many of those students are going to college and going into video production classes. And we've even found through our early tracking that kids are making a career out of this. We got one young man out of Linden that's actually a station manager in Chicago. And he wrote us a long letter on how the funding and being able to take these classes in school have helped his career. And so we want to continue to track our students and make sure that, this is paying dividends in the future. So we're trying to enhance our 21st century learning and keep improving the process. Okay? The next slide, we'd like approval, and we're going out to all the communities and schools. We'd like approval to continue with providing access to education and opportunity for our residents. We're asking for you to review the PEC coordinator for an additional 3 years, and our proposed rate for Randon is $25,000 a year. Not a lot of money for the time and effort that young man puts in to the services he provides. We're currently paying him $20,000, so this would be on a 3-year basis, $25,000. And if we can slide that up a little bit, it shows you the breakdown by community.
I don't think it's on there, honey. No, I don't think it was on there.
That wasn't on there?
No.
Okay.
Do we have that number?
Yeah, I do. For Fenton Public Schools, it's $3,000. For Lake Fenton Community Schools, $3,000. For Linden Community Schools, $3,000. For the first time, Heartland Schools just joined our organization. They're kicking in $1,000. And this is Randon's been on the job there, and Marna, maybe 2 or 3 months only with Heartland. And right away, they stood up and said, we want to contribute to him too. From the communities, Fenton Township is $5,900 a year. The city of Fenton is $5,000. Tyrone Township is $2,820, and Linden $1,343. So that all totals up to the $25,000. The good thing is the schools are all contributing. And that's another thing that as we visited the communities all wanted the schools to put some skin in the game. So they all got some money in the game, including Heartland. And all we got left is questions. Anything I can tell you, or Marna can tell you, or Jennifer.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Ray.
much for your continued support. We appreciate it, Michael and the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I was involved in this when it first broke out, and, you know, Marna came in, we both had great ideas and did a lot of work, and as well the other communities. And now Jennifer's doing it, and I'll tell you, when I first sat down, I mean, there was almost tension between people because it was in such disarray. It's organized, it's streamlined, it's accountable, it's technologically advanced, we're getting statistics, we're getting analysis and data feedback. With the schools stepping in, we're actually going to pay less money this year for the coordinator than we did last year. And unless I can find somebody that really opposes this or has an argument against it, I think we should just go ahead and call for a motion on it.
So moved.
Second. Well, it's been motioned and supported to approve the $2,820 to retain the PEG coordinator. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries.
Thank you, and I'll-
Thank you, Marna. Thank you very much. And
Yes,
thank
I'll
you, Ray.
report back to the PAC board and all the other communities and tell them to get on board.
Yeah.
Keep up the work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank
the
you.
time.
Thank you.
Good job.
And you're more than welcome to sit here and spend the rest of the evening with us.
Elders meeting at.
And you're free to leave if you so wish.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 171110, and that's to adopt the 2017 tax levies. So resolved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to resolve to adopt the 2017 tax levies. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, that's right.
No, we
I
gotta
am
vote.
so bad. It's been resolved and supported, and that is we haven't had a resolution in a while. See, I'm out of practice. So, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
David Walker.
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
Al Poole,
Yes.
and Marcy Husted, yes.
That's one thing that's nice about this board. When I show that I'm human and I make a mistake, they correct me right away.
That's why I have Terry.
So thank you. Next is a request to write off fire runs. We've got a few there that were outside of statute of limitations, deceased, no estate, unable to collect. Totals $3,080.54.
It's pretty low historically. It's been more than that, so. So moved. Support.
Been motion and supported to write off the fire runs in the amount of $3,080.54. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion, those opposed, the motion carries. Next is the treasurer's request to provide additional compensation to the deputy treasurer and cashier for newly acquired duties.
I'm requesting additional compensation for those two positions due to the added acquired duties due to the absence of a full-time accountant and the stepping down of our former treasurer. Both positions have assisted me in my training. In addition to all the work that they do every day, they've had to step-by-step go along beside me and help me, and I appreciate them. The salary committee, we have discussed and agreed that both positions should be granted a raise. And I'd like the board's approval for the increases and retro back to the first day of, that I took office, which was August 28th. Just for the board's information too, it may need a budget amendment, but we won't know that for sure until closer to the fiscal year.
We make budget amendments every year, so
Yeah.
it's not something. And when I say we make a budget amendment, for those listening, it doesn't mean that we're out budgeting ourselves. We don't have money in our budget. We will have a budget surplus at the end of the year. It's not going to put us over our budget.
Okay.
There'll be money there.
You're just adjusting it.
Just to clarify what you're asking for, because this says something a little different than what you just said a minute ago. You're asking for additional compensation. Is this a one-time additional compensation, or is this a permanent raise?
A permanent raise.
Permanent raise.
Yes.
Do we know what the bogey is on that amount?
What we've
Yeah.
discussed,
Yeah.
$2 and $1.
Okay. Okay.
And their duties have increased? They're
Yes.
doing more?
Right.
Because we don't have a full-time accountant, the deputy treasurer has taken on a lot more accounting responsibilities. In return, she's helping the clerk too, because she's doing most of the accounting, because we only have an accounting girl here one day a week.
Okay.
So someone has to step in and do those duties, because,
Right.
Okay.
and therefore, my deputy treasurer that does more of the county, then some of her work that she used to do is now onto my cashier.
We should had quite a long discussion on this to come to the, resolution that it's,
Sure.
valid and viable, so.
And the salary committee all researched or whatever?
And
Yes.
none of our employees are backing up a Brinks truck here, so.
No, I get that. No, I understand that. No, I.
Maybe
I
to
get
sweep out the floor, but not to collect any money.
Yeah.
that. Do we anticipate at any point in the future replacing the accountant then, or we're just gonna?
Kinda remains to be seen.
It's kind of hard to say. It
Okay.
seems to be working out pretty well as
We
it
may,
is.
we may change the hours or the
Okay.
rate.
That's fine. I mean, if this works out fine, I guess. fine.
And this
And
will
one-
help
one
keep
of
the
nice
continuity
things
too,
We
right?
have a professional accountant that assumes liability of our audit because they're current with all the Michigan state laws. And it really helps us out, and it streamlined our audit process.
Okay.
So it's, anytime that there's something, a blip on the radar, hey, you guys need to do this, you need to adopt this policy, you need to do that, she knows it like that.
Got it. Okay.
Just one more quick one, even though you're requesting a raise in here. Is this bringing them up to a par that there's not going to be dissatisfied in a year? Is this going to be, it's more for retention and everything too? Obviously, people can make more money elsewhere from, the township wages.
I would
think so.
hope that.
Yeah,
This is
I-
gonna
I
help
think
retain
I think
that?
Yes.
In the last year, we've done some diligence, and we've really looked at, position by position and compared them to the rest of the county and where we need to be. And I think we're in the ballpark of where we need to be, and with the additional duties, I think it's warranted.
I mean, the additional, I would be more concerned with retention of the people that are doing a good job, not just throw them a little bit here, but they're still going to be lured elsewhere. Are we good there?
Well, I think we actually had a scenario with an employee that happened, and, so.
Okay.
As good as you can do.
I think we got a good work environment, and, where we need to be with it. And, it's budgeting time again at the end of the year. I think that it is in the best interest of the, the three of us to sit down and take a look at it, see if we need to make any adjustments for next year, but, you know, and I think we need to do that with our planning commission as well. I think we need to do it with our ZBA and make sure that, you know, everybody's adequately compensated for the tasks that they're performing.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not going to be the highest paid in the county, but we still need to be, per our capita, somewhere in the right range, and that's what we'll try to look at and make sure that we're
Are
there.
we making a motion to do this right now? I mean, is that what this is calling for?
Yes.
We need a
Yeah.
motion for it right
I
now?
think I understand what your motion is, and I'll go ahead and make the motion. The motion is to adjust the pay of the clerk and the deputy clerk, and that would be everything. Treasurer.
Treasurer,
The clerk and the
deputy,
the
treasurer,
deputy treasurer
and the cashier.
and the cashier, and we're going to retro that back to August 28th of this year. That's the motion.
Not to be that guy, but can you put some parameters on it, like based on the recommendation from the compensation committee, or that's pretty open-ended?
Yeah, okay. Let me modify that. The motion is that I will, motion that we provide additional compensation to the deputy treasurer and the cashier for newly acquired duties per recommendation of the salary committee,
I'll support that.
or the employee committee.
I'll support that.
Any further discussion? It's been motioned and supported. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next is discussion on burn ordinance regarding leaf burning.
I'm just trying to pull it up here. I didn't, my link didn't take me there, so.
Under open burning on the right there, element, oh, there you go.
Or do you want me to talk?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. I had a resident come in, and because of the exceptionally warm fall we've had, a lot of the leaves have not dropped yet, and our leaf burning is going to expire November 15th. So I've been asked if we can extend that for, well, I don't really know how long we need to, 2 weeks. Like, I thought maybe until December 3rd, that would get us through a weekend. That December 3rd is a Sunday. Give us a couple extra weeks, and hopefully the leaves will start to fall. I think it's something that we have to look at going forward, though, because I do know that the state does not allow burning in municipalities of 7,500 or more unless there is a local ordinance, and I know that they emit a lot of toxic fumes, so I think that is something that we may look at somewhere in the near future about whether or not we're even going to allow it. But for this year, I would like to extend it until December 3rd.
I know with my yard, I haven't even started raking yet because I have so many leaves on the trees. And I get a lot of leaves, so
Yeah, and
definitely be helpful.
Leaves are all wet still.
Yeah, right. Can't burn them anyway. Yeah.
Is it even proper to take an ordinance and temporarily move a date to have it reset for the next year?
I think we
Seriously.
can. Fenton Township, I talked to the fire chief from Fenton Township, and he did say that they extended their, I think he meant yard waste pickup until December 1st, just because of the weather that we've had, so.
Yard waste pickup or burning?
They don't allow burning, they don't allow burning of leaves in Fenton Township, so it's the waste.
So is it going to be potentially more wet leaves? Because as we get into the certain I'm being devil's advocate here, because that's why, as a fire is not hot, and it smolders in the soot, that's what a fire needs to be hot, burn, and poof, and in the air, and burned. And so, the longer these leaves are and the more wet they are and stuff like that,
think we
we're
have
getting into a
some-
season where there's gonna be,
Yeah, and I
when
think
they
we
hit the
have some
ground, it's
warm,
gonna be more moist.
I think
You're
we
gonna
have
have
some
more
nice
moisture.
weather coming too, so hopefully they'll have an opportunity to fall and dry out before they need to be burnt.
I fully understand the request and the reason why. However, on the other side of the token, though, we'll have snow on the ground here within a month.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And then there won't be any leaf burning. And I want to speak on behalf of the people that have COPD, or allergies, or emphysema, or asthma. When is their opportunity to go out in a smoke-free environment and get their leaves taken care of? You know, I don't know if you've ever traveled to lake communities, Runyon Lake, or Lake Shannon, or Lake Tyrone. This time of the year, it's just blankets of smoke. The windows and the doors are shut, and, you know, you don't go outside because people are just, it's a fog. I do think that we're gonna have some cold weather, and some leaves are gonna fall this week, but this is the only person that has made a request to do it, and I just don't know when we started making decisions for a majority of one or two. Speaking on behalf of the other people that are waiting for the burn to end so they can get out and handle their business before the snow flies.
well, there is alternatives of mulching. Mower out, and mower it, and
I get about 30 truckloads of leaves. So
30 truckloads.
it's, I don't know how you mulch that or.
I live on
Have
a
it picked up.
50-foot wide lot. I have a over 200-year-old oak tree, and I've got about 800-foot maple trees, and it's this high. And what I do is I get out there and I just blow them and start mulching them, and with my mower, I lift my deck up real high, start running into them and mulching them and mulching them and mulching them.
Mine gets so deep that it just snow plows.
Yeah.
I can't get over them there.
So
Yeah, I can't even.
there's mulching, there's composting. I mean, I've got some information here from the EPA about the hazards
I don't burn.
and the carcinogenics that are in leaf burning, and even the state, if anybody wants to read these, they can take a look at them. Even the state of Michigan has said, if you are 7,000 or 500 more people, we don't want you open burning unless you adopt an ordinance that does it, and they still are not in favor of it. I mean, it's a health hazard, it's a...
Well, but we have one.
We do have one, and that's the
So
issue.
the issue now is whether you want to extend it or not, which is, the board's prerogative to do that.
I mean, has this been an issue in the past with the late fall of the leaves? I mean, I've never,
I don't remember.
The ordinance was adopted...
I don't burn my,
The ordinance
It's
was
not a big deal,
adopted
but-
in 2009. And this is the first time anyone's ever requested to extend it, and we have never extended it before.
I know last year we did have that gentleman that actually got a ticket, a fine.
Kind of citation.
He was
Yes.
the new resident.
well,
Yeah, and he
again,
was-
I think the biggest effect of this is, I don't know where your is located or anything, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can. What about the communities where there's a high density of homes, and then everybody's yeah, we put an ordinance into place for a reason. I don't relate to people wanting to burn leaves. I don't, so I apologize for that, but if it's there and that's what it is, and we never had a problem with this in the past, and I know we've had odd weather patterns, I mean, personally, I think we just leave it alone, and there's other things to do. There's other ways to get around this issue.
To argue that December 3rd is just as arbitrary as November 15th.
It sure is.
So, I mean,
Well, I do feel that we're going to probably go the route of not allowing leaf burning in the future, but we're going to have some meetings and some
Oh, sure.
discussion on that before we actually change
And I
our
think also,
ordinance, but,
and to add to that, I think our burn rolls in our ordinance, and we've talked about this too, is that they need to be updated and they don't say the same things, so.
As your population density increases, you're gonna have to, so.
Yeah. When the ordinance was made, that was prior to our last census, and the census before that, we were right around 7,000 people, so.
Yeah.
And we've almost doubled that now.
Well, like, part of what I was saying, like your place, Dave.
Yeah.
If you burn leaves, you know, part of your
Well-
emissions, I mean, it doesn't affect as many people as say if you were burning leaves at
Yeah.
your house. You know, so that's what I'm saying, some of these people, if they're gonna be constantly burning, trying to do the bum rush, and next thing you know, I don't,
Well, if I burn leaves, NASA's gonna call, because you're gonna see it from satellites.
And I think if we had, if everybody was burning leaves properly, you know, hot fire, adding the leaves to it rather than just lighting them and letting them smolder for 3 or 4 days, I don't even think we'd be having the conversation.
Yeah,
Right.
I get that. So in the spirit of just moving things along so you can end the discussion and get a motion either out there and off, I'll go ahead and make the motion to extend it to December 3rd. And then if there's support, that's fine, and then you can continue your discussion, and then you can vote it up or down.
I support that.
It's been motioned and supported to extend it to when?
December
December
3rd.
To December 3rd. Any further discussion?
Yes, I question delaying it like this. Myself, I've always thought dry portions of the winter, a lot of leaves blowing around, it'd be as good a time as any to burn in the middle of winter, 'cause no one has their windows open, for sure.
It's hard to rake leaves in snow, though, isn't it?
Yeah. There's that
It's
one
like Al was
catch.
talking about bulldozing them. I got a blade on my one tractor. One year, I literally was plowing my yard for all the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we should just do a roll call vote on this, because I think there's some opposition, so.
Okay, Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck,
I'm gonna say no.
David,
Yes.
I say yes,
No.
Yes.
and
Yes.
thank you.
All right, so next on the agenda is miscellaneous business. We have none. Public remarks.
Marta, if you raise your hand, you will. Okay.
I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
Been motion and supported to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion adjourned.
This is nice. How are you gonna get this out in the public?
I know, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I'll get it out there. I'll put it out on our website. I'll let the Tri-County Times know, and then there'll be a press release that goes with it, so. That's how we got there.
Just doing a quick look. I'm not seeing anybody else too local. Right?